Alright, and here we are with the HEST 2 lengthened review. This is the part 2 of that, so we'll go ahead and pick up where we left off. Slicing ability, not that great as far as just razor blade sharpness. The thickness of the blade, like I said before in the other video, takes that into account. I will say that this auto lock feature on the bottom, this roto lock, sorry, it engages sometimes when you don't want it to. I thought about actually getting rid of it because I don't need the bank vault lock, but I don't want to disable something that might actually, be useful one day or something like that. The finish on the thumb studs and on the pivot screw wears off, so you might be able to see a little bit of silver on that. The thumb stud was as black as the blade at one point, and it seems to have worn off in and out of the pocket kind of thing over time. Doesn't bother me. But if you're into something like that, where you don't want to see the signs of wear and stuff like that on your finishes, that might be something you want to look at. The blade finish is excellent. I've torn down a bunch of boxes and stuff like that. It does lose a little bit of its sheen, but you put some of that 3-in-1 or WD-40 or something like that back on the blade, it'll kind of get that shine back on the original black finish. We'll get into, we'll do features and then we'll do materials. But anyways, the jimping on the back is kind of a different design I haven't seen before. It's almost like partial circles cut out of the back, and it's extremely effective. I mean, that is some really good jimping. I like it a lot. I'm not huge into the whole jimping thing. It's kind of one of those, if a knife needs it, a knife this size I think needs it. I think that you will be doing, if you're in the hostile environment, survival tool mode, where you need to use this knife for that situation, that the jimping is definitely needed here and effective, so that's definitely a plus on that. You have the logo here on the blade, it says DPX gear, and then you have Robert Young Pelton's initials here on the top of the blade. So this was designed by him, obviously with the first one. He listened to some of the, like with the HEST 1 folder, he listened to some of the reviews from some of the people that were using it, and that is probably the best example that I've seen of somebody making dramatic changes to a blade off of what reviews and what people did from the get-go. I mean, if you look at the differences, and there's a couple of good videos out there on the differences between the 1 and the 2, the number 2 fixes a lot of problems that I didn't think were issues until people started bringing it up, and like the tension here on the pocket clip. Well, it's going to be smoother because you're backing with titanium, but they had holes drilled here for another lanyard. And besides the apex driver here, the apex driver lanyard hole, whatever you want to call it, but it weakened that clip, so they filled it in, so now it's solid, and the clip is a little bit more effective. I don't have the older one, but the clip seems to be effective for me so far, so that's pretty good. You let's get back into the features. You have this feature here that it's, if I'm not mistaken, it was labeled as a can opener, and that might just be bottle opener. That's what I've used it for, but it seems like you could probably use it as a can opener also. Putting it on the edge of the can and working it like that, it would probably work. The biggest thing that I've noticed with it is that it's essentially a wave feature, like what would come on one of your Emerson knives. So it works in that same aspect, which is great. That's pretty cool. After I've been carrying my Emerson more and more, I've grown to really like that feature. And if you can work it in your pocket before you take it out, you can dictate when you want to, have the blade deployed and when you don't. So that's kind of convenient. If you get used to carrying it, that's kind of cool with that feature. At first, when I carried it, it came out no matter what, and I like now that because I've gotten used to it, I can kind of decide when I want it to be deployed or not. If you're at the mall or something like that, maybe at work you don't want to, flip the blade out as fast as possible, but in other situations you might want to. That just takes an added motion out of it, so all you have to do is a hand adjust once the blade is open, and you're done. Versus, hand adjust and then thumb stud and all that kind of stuff, which just one more motion that you don't have to deal with, which is cool. Like I said before, this is an apex driver here on the bottom of the folder, and it doubles as a lanyard hole, so which is kind of cool. I don't really know how effective it is. Because of how thick this is, I don't think your apex tip would stick out very far. So I've never used it. I don't really find that practical for what I need, but it's one of those things that's there if you need it. When you get the blade itself, because we're in this area, I'll talk about it. you have a plain cap, and then you have this window breaker cap. I left the window breaker cap on it, obviously for just because it looks cool and just something extra that you can do. You have a flush one. It would stop right about where my thumbnail is, kind of rounded. And the only bad thing about it is it takes a special key to open it, or to loosen it and remove it, or you can reverse it or whatever. That is included with the purchase of the knife. So this portion here slides on. I'm locked in. I could take it off if I wanted to. So that's pretty cool. It is cool that they include the tool with it. I think that's a pretty cool, just something extra, you know. I mean, why not? Everybody's got these little EDC keychain tools and little mini pry bars and everything. This one's pretty good. This chisel edge is not sharpened, but in here, in this little stripping, like wire stripping edge, it is sharpened, so that's pretty cool. The spare screw for the tip can be kept in one of the threaded nostrils of the skull. So I thought that was kind of neat. I didn't do it. I think it's actually in that box over there. But you could keep it on you if you wanted to. So I thought that was kind of a neat feature too. And you got a little jimping here for your thumb if you want to use the tool. And you have the keyway here. Even though I don't like pivots that use weird keyways and all that, I like them being common tools. But or at least Torx bits or something that I have around, you know. But I've got to have this little spanner wrench to use it. So I keep this on my keys just in case I need it, and I think it's kind of a cool little feature. But that's really about all you're getting out of this tool for the most part. Something neat, something extra. I think it's kind of cool. And that's all on that price point too, which is pretty nice. You start looking at the price point for what you're getting, you're really coming out on top, in my opinion. You're getting a lot of blade for that money. You're getting decent blade steel from what I've seen. Maybe not. I can't get it to razor edge. You might have different results with that, but you get thick blade stock. You're getting a titanium frame lock with a G10 slab for the other side. You're getting a low ride pocket clip. You're getting all this extra stuff for that price point. You know, $179, which is what I paid for this one, which is really pretty good. So I think you're winning on this one here. In your hand, it sits pretty good. It almost makes you want to choke up fairly far though, kind of like I would say kind of a bushcrafting hold almost, like if I was going to skin a stick or something like that, kind of make shavings. That's kind of how I would grab it. And that seems to be, honestly, more comfortable than back here. So, for the most part, when I grab it, that's pretty much how I do it, which I don't know how intentional that is or not, but the finger choil is fairly deep. There is a little bit of jimping on the titanium frame lock there. Titanium kind of has a stone wash finish on it, which is pretty cool. I think that's something added to it, to the character. One extra step that they did, kind of getting you closer to that little custom range. The bad part about this knife here, as far as the materials and construction, is the fact that this backspacer is Zytel. It's not G10, which is what comes on your Emerson folders, but it's Zytel, and I really don't like that. I think if you're here already, either mill it out of one solid piece of G10, or throw me another piece of G10 in here. You know, I just think that would have been something a little extra. Will it rot? No. Will it fall apart in the wind? No. But at the same time, just something extra. You do see the, I don't know if that focuses or not, but the Lion Steel Made in Italy stamp back there in the backspacer on the inside. And I think they did a pretty good job on this one. I definitely welcome your questions, although I probably won't answer them. No, I'm trying to get better about answering the questions and stuff like that on the YouTube videos, because I know you guys see this and you're like, well, you know, you could answer your own question for $100 and something bucks, but at the same time, why not just ask me? You know, I'm here, so I'll try to get better about that. Overall, I'm not going to give specs and stuff like that on the blade. I will put these back up as far as a size comparison. I actually do have the scale up, so I will give you, that's your Paramilitary 2 at the bottom, which actually is another good good example of a company listening to what the people wanted. So I mean, you can look up the Paramilitary 1 and 2 and see the changes that took place, and they actually did a good job also. And the mini CQC 15 in the back. Let's go ahead and get you a final weight. It is a little heavy, but I don't mind it on my primary folder. If it's heavier, if I'm getting something that I think's sturdier or stronger for it, then I'm fine with that. So 4.8 ounces. That's still better than some of the cold steel blades out there, and better than, honestly, quite a lot of blades out there. I think you're winning with this one. I would definitely consider it if I was looking at something kind of at the high-end production folder, you know, in this tactical roll kind of situation. If I had to classify it, I would probably, against the wishes of this Mr. Pelton guy, I'm sure he would put it in a tactical roll. I might put it maybe semi-tactical, but mostly just an EDC blade. That's what I use all of these for, and I think that as far as that goes, I think a heavy EDC blade would be a good little label for this folder. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I apologize for the part 1 and part 2 of that. That was an example that wrote a lot, kind of engaging when I didn't want it to. For the most part, I would check it out. Watch a couple other reviews. There's some good ones out there. See what you think, and just let me know in your comments. Kind of, let me know what you think of the folder itself too. Thanks a lot, guys.